Join the search for Michael Bryson, and they are not slowing down 5 days later. KEZI 9 News.
27-year-old Michael Bryson has been missing for more than 2 months now, and the search is still very active.
The disappearance of Michael Bryson.
He went missing in 2020 after telling his parents he was going on a camping trip.
The party, or rave as it's been referred to, took place at the Hobo Campground just outside Dorena in the Umpqua National Forest.
In the expanse of the Umpqua National Forest, an unsettling mystery began to unfold in early August of 2020. Michael Bryson, a 27-year-old resident of Eugene, Oregon, would soon become the central figure in a disappearance that perplexed and alarmed both his community and the authorities. Michael was well known in his hometown for his generous spirit and his love for music, which often saw him at the heart of local gatherings. His personality was as vibrant as the beats he spun as a DJ. As summer reached its peak, Michael planned to attend a week-long birthday celebration that combined the rustic charm of camping with the unrestrained joy of a music festival. The chosen venue, Hobo Campground, was nestled in the dense, lush settings of the Umpqua National Forest, a place that promised not only natural beauty, but a break from the hustle of everyday life. This trip was not just another outing, it was anticipated as a highlight of the summer, a perfect escape into nature with close friends. Before his departure, Michael visited his parents' home in Harrisburg, a small town not far from Eugene. It was here, in the comfort of familiar surroundings, that he shared the details of his upcoming adventure. His excitement was measurable. His eyes lit up as he spoke about the people he would meet and the music he would bring to life in the forest. His parents, accustomed to their son's adventurous spirit, listened intently, sharing in his enthusiasm while silently nursing the usual parental concerns that flutter about when either a child or adult ventures from home. Michael's journey from his parents' home to the Hobo Campground was uneventful, marked by the scenic drive through Oregon's picturesque landscapes. Upon arrival, he was greeted by the sight and sounds of a party already in motion. Friends and acquaintances, some he had not seen since before the world was gripped by the pandemic, welcomed him with open arms. The campground was alive with energy as tents dotted the sites, lights strung between the trees, and in the distance, the steady pulse of electronic music beckoned. As he set up his own campsite, Michael could feel the pulsing energy of the forest around him. The trees seemed to sway rhythmically with the music, and the night sky was a blanket of stars, undisturbed by city lights. The setting was idyllic, yet as the night drew on, the isolation of the wilderness around them could not be ignored. It was in this vast, open space that the line between festivity and vulnerability would blur, setting the stage for a disappearance that would captivate and mystify all who heard about it. The mysterious elements of Michael's last known location, the remote and primitive Hobo Campground, the imposing forest, and the joyful yet chaotic nature of a rave in such a setting, all of which contributed to the eerie prelude of his story. Little did anyone know, this vibrant beginning would soon take a turn into the unknown, leaving behind nothing but questions and a haunting silence of the woods where he was last seen. As the vibrant night progressed at the Hobo Campground deep within the Umpqua National Forest, the atmosphere thumped with a mixture of music, laughter, and the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. The event, a blend of a birthday celebration and a rave, had drawn a diverse crowd of attendees, all there to enjoy the escape in the wilderness. Michael Bryson, known among his friends for his charisma and DJ skills, was right at the heart of it. The evening started promisingly as Michael took to the makeshift stage to perform a DJ set that perfectly captured the spirit of this gathering. His music, a mix of vibrant beats and soulful melodies, resonated through the crowd, setting feet moving and spirits soaring. As he spun track after track, the connection between him and the audience seemed unbreakable, a shared moment of joy that defined the start of what was meant to be a memorable night. However, as the night wore on, the initial euphoria began to give way to a more chaotic undertone. The isolated setting, combined with the consumption of alcohol and other substances, started to alter the mood among the partygoers. Michael, who was at the center of this whirlwind, appeared increasingly out of sorts as the nights drew into the early morning hours. Friends later recounted seeing him agitated and restless, a contrast to the elated DJ who had owned the stage just hours earlier. Around 4 a.m., the situation took a mysterious turn. Michael abruptly left the bus that served as the central hub for the rave, stepping out into the dark forest. His departure was sudden and without any clear indication of his intent. Concerns quickly escalated when a text message surfaced from one of the attendees. Also, we may or may not have spun Michael out, and he is lost in the woods. This message suggested that Michael might have been profoundly affected by substances, enough to disorient him and impair his ability to navigate the treacherous woodland safely. The term spun out gains a chilling significance, especially when paired with the cryptic text message about his condition on the night he vanished. The Urban Dictionary definition of spun out describes a state induced by excessive use of powerful stimulants like methamphetamine or synthetic drugs, which can lead to severe paranoia, disorientation, and erratic behavior. This state is marked by symptoms such as fear of law enforcement and bizarre, repetitive behaviors. Michael's sudden and unexplained departure from the bus at the party might suggest that he was experiencing some of these intense effects. His behavior, as described by the unsettling text, implies that he could have been suffering from a severe level of distress and confusion, exacerbating his vulnerability in the wild. The dense and dark forest, combined with his possible impairment, would have significantly increased the risks that he faced, painting a grim picture of his last known hours. Given the mysterious and alarming circumstances, the search efforts could have been influenced by concerns over his mental and physical state, focusing on areas where someone in a confused and agitated state might wander. This adds a layer of urgency and complexity to the search, as rescuers might not only be looking for someone who was physically lost, but also psychologically distressed and unable to seek help effectively. The broader understanding of what it meant to be spun out helps illustrate why Michael's disappearance was particularly perplexing and worrying for those searching for him. It emphasizes the critical need for timely and thorough search and rescue efforts in such cases, where an individual's condition could drastically worsen their chances of surviving in the wilderness. This revelation sent ripples of worry through the group. A sense of unease began to permeate the crowd. Discussions about what the text could mean and whether Michael was in a state to look after himself became more frantic. The search for Michael did not fully begin until the full daylight illuminated the dense forest, revealing just how daunting the task of finding him would be. The delay in organizing a search, combined with the cryptic, last known circumstances of his departure, complicated the efforts. The forest, vast and indifferent, kept its secrets as the search teams prepared to delve into its depths. The realization of Michael Bryson's disappearance did not dawn immediately on the partygoers at the hobo campground. It was only as the night's festivities waned and the clear light of day began to break through the dense canopy that the gravity of the situation became apparent. What had started as a night of joy and connection had slipped into a scenario fraught with uncertainty and fear. As the morning unfolded, the initial inquiries into Michael's whereabouts transformed into a deep, communal concern. Friends retraced steps, and the last sighting of Michael was scrutinized, all painting a picture of his unexpected and unexplained departure. His parents, not hearing from him as expected, felt a growing unease that something was terribly wrong. The alarm was raised officially late in the day, much later than the critical initial hours following his disappearance. By this time, the chances of finding Michael quickly and safely were diminishing. His parents, struck by a profound fear that every parent dreads, rushed to the campground. Expecting a coordinated effort by the search teams, they were met instead with a disorganized and seemingly indifferent response from the local authorities and the partygoers who were still on site. The search for Michael officially began that evening, almost a full day after he was last seen. The delay was critical and detrimental. His parents, now desperate, spearheaded the efforts, organizing the search parties, mapping out the area, and coordinating with local search and rescue teams. The campground, once a site of a festivity, turned into a command center for the search operation. As the search expanded, the vastness of the Umpqua National Forest became a formidable adversary. The terrain was rough, with thick underbrush, steep ravines, and extensive ground to cover. The forest, which had so recently echoed with the sounds of music and laughter, now seemed ominously silent, as if holding its breath. Search teams called out for Michael, their voices echoing through the trees, met with only the rustle of leaves in response. The mystery of Michael's whereabouts deepened with each passing hour. Aerial drones buzzed overhead, scanning the forest floor. Horseback teams navigated the more inaccessible areas, and volunteers lined up, shoulder to shoulder, to comb through the underbrush. The community's response was a contrast to the initial casual reactions, now marked by urgency and a sense of growing dread. The fading light of each day brought the chilling realization that Michael might not be found easily or at all. With every shadow cast by the setting sun, hope dwindled, and the forest seemed to grow larger and darker, a vast expanse hiding a mystery that no one was prepared for. The search efforts, fraught with emotional and physical exhaustion, reflected the harsh reality with each hour that passed. The likelihood of finding Michael alive and well diminished significantly. As the initial fervor of the search for Michael Bryson began to wane, the efforts transitioned into a prolonged and grueling phase. Weeks turned into months, and the dense Umpqua National Forest continued to keep its secrets, offering no clues to Michael's whereabouts. The exhaustive daily searches gradually scaled down, yet the determination of Michael's family and close friends never faltered. They continued to organize weekend searches, reaching out to experienced trackers and anyone who could help navigate the challenging terrain. The mystery of Michael's disappearance deepened with each fruitless search. Every uncovered footprint or piece of discarded clothing led to dead ends, further compounding the frustration and heartache felt by those looking for answers. The forest seemed impenetrable, a vast green expanse that swallowed up any trace of Michael. It was as if the earth had opened up and taken him, leaving behind nothing but echoes of his last known night. Inconsistencies in the stories from the last people to see Michael alive fueled various theories and speculation. Some believed he might have decided to walk away from his life, overwhelmed by undisclosed pressures. Others suspected foul play, a theory that his abrupt and uncharacteristic disappearance seemed to support. The lack of concrete evidence made every hypothesis as plausible as it was haunting. Volunteers and law enforcement combed through the area with drones that swept the skies and divers who plunged into the nearby lakes, searching for any sign that could lead to Michael. The community rallied with vigils and fundraisers, maintaining public interest and hope, keeping Michael's story alive and in the media and on social media platforms. Despite the dwindling leads, the search efforts revealed the resilience and depth of the community's commitment to finding Michael. His parents, driven by a profound need for closure, continued to push for answers. They met regularly with investigators, pored over maps, and reviewed hours of drone footage, desperate for a breakthrough. As the seasons changed, the harsh weather conditions added another layer of difficulty to the search efforts. The cold, wet months made the terrain even more treacherous, and the reduced daylight hours shortened the window for searching. Yet, through rain and cold, Michael's family and the community's resolve only seemed to strengthen, bound together by the shared sorrow and collective hope for resolution. This ongoing struggle to find Michael created a somber bond among those involved, each person driven by a mix of hope, duty, and the haunting realization that the mystery might never be solved. The forest, once a place of refuge and joy for Michael, had become a somber symbol of loss and unresolved mystery, its silence a constant reminder of all that remained unknown. Months after Michael Bryson's disappearance, the dense foliage of the Umpqua National Forest continued to hold its silence, deepening the puzzle surrounding his fate. The vibrant energy and promise that once marked Michael's presence at the hobo campground seemed a distant memory, overshadowed by the pervasive mystery and sorrowful wait for answers. The Bryson family, supported unwaveringly by a community that refused to let Michael's story fade into obscurity, found themselves in a state of suspended grief. The forest, a sprawling entity of both beauty and menace, appeared to guard its secrets jealously, frustrating the efforts of even the most determined searchers. As the investigation continued, it transformed from a frantic search into a more methodical, albeit agonizing, quest for any piece of evidence. Michael's parents pored over every detail, revisiting the same spots repeatedly, each visit a reminder of the passage of time without resolution. They organized community meetings, kept in constant contact with detectives, and maintained a presence in the media to ensure that their son's case remained in the public eye. The lack of evidence and definitive leads prompted broader questions about the nature of disappearances in wilderness areas, drawing attention from experts in search and rescue operations, psychologists, and criminologists. Discussions about safety in remote settings, the effects of substance use in vulnerable situations, and the psychological impacts of unresolved cases filled community forums and social media discussions. Symbolically, the forest became a reminder of life's fragility and unpredictability. Each tree, path, and creek in the national forest had been scrutinized, yet the vastness of the wild seemed only to grow, as if mirroring the expanding gap between the known and the unknown. The echoing void left by Michael's absence resonated through a community, a constant call to understand, to remember, and to learn. In this lingering phase of not knowing, the Bryson family and their supporters found a certain strength in unity and purpose. They established foundations to support other families dealing with similar agonies, advocating for better resources in wilderness and search and rescue efforts, and also for the greater awareness about personal safety among partygoers and adventurers alike. As the years passed, the narrative of Michael Bryson did not conclude with clear answers, but evolved into a larger dialogue about loss, hope, and the human capacity to seek truths against dawning odds. The forest, with its undisturbed depths and silent watch over the secrets that it holds, stood as a solemn testament to the enduring search for Michael, a search that, in its essence, transcended the physical and ventured into the heart of human resilience and collective memory. The story of Michael Bryson, unresolved yet unforgettable, continues to echo through the trees, a lingering reminder of the search for truth in the shadows of uncertainty.